Do you want to know the two most useful verbs of the French language? If you learn only to go in French, you end up knowing also to have with no effort and with a very satisfying use of your own time. With some tips and just a bit of method, it's going to be quite easy. I'm Thomas and I teach French, so let's get into it. Let's start with to go. If you already watched the episode on asking directions by using to go, you know the memory hack. Go is often va. The va of invaders or invaders. Because invaders go from one place to another. I love this hack because it makes sense. To go in French comes from several Latin verbs that have been mixed together. Among them, the verb vadere, that gave va in French. And in English, vadere has remained with invadere, that gave to invade and invader. That makes the link between both languages. So she goes is elle va. He goes is il va. We go in spoken French is on va. And you go for the singular you is tu vas. And don't forget the automatic silent S that always comes with tu. Now I go is je vais. You can recognize va, but it's been turned into V. Silent S. Anyway, a consonant at the end of a word is silent. There are very few exceptions, so it's a really good approximation. And they go for a group of women is elles vont. So you recognize the N and the T that always come with they in French. Here the T is really silent, as always. And the N is used to turn the O into on. And they go for a group of men is ils vont. Now, if you remember, I told you some minutes ago that to go in French was a mix of several Latin verbs. And another one of them gave the word aller in English. And that's important because to go in French is aller with an R, which only use is to turn the I, E into E. And that makes sense as well because an aller allows you to go somewhere. Now for the plural you, for ER verbs, you just say the infinitive. And when you write it, you replace the R by a Z. You go or you guys go, vous allez. So remember that the plural you is either vous when the following word starts with a consonant or vous when the following word starts with a vowel. And now, believe it or not, but you know how to conjugate to have in French. To have is avoir for the infinitive. Then you just remove the V of va. And that's how you conjugate to have. He has, il a. She has, elle a. We have in spoken French, on a. As for vous, you pronounce the N when the following word starts with a vowel. You have for one person, tu as. They have for a group of men, ils ont. Again, you pronounce the S when the following word starts with a vowel. They have for a group of women, elles ont. I have, je ai, which is shortened in j'ai. Just the sound j when the following word starts with a vowel. And note that there's no S in j'ai. But what about you guys have? There's no V to remove in vous allez. So you replace the double L by a V. Vous avez. I just mentioned quickly we go and we have in written formal French to be complete. We go, nous allons. We have, nous avons. So nous is really formal. You need more to recognize it than to be able to use it. Don't bother too much with nous. Now, to keep it in your mind, you need to practice. So I recommend you to watch this video, where I give you some French expressions and particularly one very important with to have in French.